Welcome back to BK Nothing But Nets. I'm joined with Dylan, Nets Press. We're going to get into something interesting today. Might not be a long show. I don't have a ton of time, but I wanted to address the possibility of the Nets getting Ace Bailey. Uh, Originally, I thought this was wild, but you look at it, and the Nets do have a potential trade offer for the number 3 pick in the draft. I wanted to adjust the reality of it and what that would mean to our franchise. Because I think it would be, if we could keep 8, and we worked this out a little bit, we didn't spend too much time on it. But if we could get 3 and 8, we could have a franchise-changing day. I think what we would have would be not comparable or similar, but in the same blueprint of what the Celtics had with JB and Tatum, where they got these 2 young all-stars coming up at the same stage of their career. If we could work out a path to get Ace at 3 and keep 8 and draft Fears should he fall there, that changes the direction of the franchise. And I kind of wanted your thoughts and speak to how impactful that might be.
Yeah, I mean there's a real possibility now for the first time since lottery night and even prior, because I was the first person to say I don't think there is a single soul that would trade out of the top 2 picks, potentially even the 3rd pick. But you have Philly, who is in a position, whether people like to believe it or not, where they can still win now if their 2 major stars can at least stay healthy. Um, they have great depth. Maybe getting an extra 1 or 2 picks in this year's draft plus their pick back. Like, this is something that definitely is being considered on their end. Now, it also says they're going to field offers. That does not mean they were going to take an offer. You're working with Daryl Morey. A lot of people know what it's like to work with Daryl Morey as a fan base. Like, it's not fun. It's not easy. But if you're keeping the 8th overall pick, you would have to think the 76ers 2027 pick is heading back to Philly. You would have to think one of the Knicks picks is likely heading to Philly. And you would have to think 19 and at least 26 or 27 would be heading to Philly. And I'm talking about the Nets picks this year, of course. So it's interesting. I'm intrigued by it. I'm not against it. I would give up those picks in a heartbeat alongside Cam Johnson for the 3rd overall pick if it means keeping 8 and your pick next year. Now, if they come to you and say, I want 8 and your next year first, they're not serious. Like, I'm not doing that shit. I'm not wasting the opportunity of 2 top 10 picks, and I'm also not wasting the opportunity of having a pick next year. The only way I would even think to move next year's pick if it's top 10 protected, and again, I still wouldn't give up 8. I would try and figure out as many avenues as possible before having to give up that pick. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. I think there's some weight to that, though. The Nets have worked previously with Philly. I think that's something that they could look to do again.
To me, giving up 8 is like when you have to do it, right? Like, it's my last possibility. I'm going to try to go through a gauntlet of trades without giving up 8. If I have to give up 8, I don't even know if I can get Fears at 8. I know that I can get Ace at 3, and I know that Ace changes my. Even though I think, honestly, day one, who's a better basketball player, Fears or Ace Bailey?
It's probably Fears.
Yeah,
Fears is probably more NBA ready than Aces. But well, okay, so here's the thing, right? I'm actually working on trade ideas because I mentioned yesterday I know Sixers Daily, who's another big 76ers page on Instagram, and we're doing a little collaboration post here shortly. But if there's a world where you can give up the 8th overall pick, the 26th overall pick, and then I would say the 76ers 2027 pick back, if that's the package that you could use without using a player, without using the 19th pick to move up into 3, then I'm looking at 19 and Cam Johnson to move up between 12 through 14. And I think that I would.
That's the reality, yeah.
Right? Because if you could use Johnson and 19 to move up, let's just say to 14, right? Just let's say Carter Bryant's available. Yeah, San Antonio is a team that I'm looking at. Does San Antonio maybe look to move Cam Johnson for Keldon Johnson and the 14th pick? Like, does Brooklyn even have to give up a first in that scenario? It's interesting. My goal out of this entire draft, personally, as a fan that wants to see well-rounded players get drafted here, is to figure out a way to get 3 top 19 picks. I think that is extremely beneficial with the class that you're looking at right now in terms of prospects. Is there a world you can do that if you trade 8 for 3? Maybe not. But if you're able to keep 19 in that trade, then I personally would use 26, 36 and Cam Johnson to try and move up to 14 through 16. I think that's the avenue that I would look to do.
I want to address this real quick. The Nets, how are the Nets getting 3 without trading 8? Even if the Nets take PG, we're not taking PG. That was Alan's a friend of mine. I gave him a hypothetical that I came up with when I would trade George and 3, George's contract and 3 for Cam Johnson and 8. What Dylan presented yesterday, what it seems like a pretty good offer if you're Philly and you're looking to win now. It was 19, 27, the 27 pick back, and a future pick. I want to give you one possible scenario. No players involved, just draft capital. We get 3, they get 19, and next year's pick. So they get 19 and our pick next year.
I don't think they'd look at that. Right, because the whole key of what they're trying to do is they're trying to put themselves in a position where if this fails again next year,
they get our pick next year.
They have their pick next year, top 4 protected, right? If they fail this year, they're going to bottom out again like they did purposely this year. And if they fail this year, Embiid and George are likely gone, right? If you're able to net back 2 guys in this draft class in the first round, and 2 future picks, one of them being your own pick back in 2027, that gives you the opportunity to now either A, rebuild, or B, if they do somehow do well this year, now you're looking at having the Clippers picks that they have, their own picks back, a good amount of second-round draft capital. Now you're looking at still competing and contending and buying into those win-now pieces, whether it's at this upcoming trade deadline, next offseason, whatever the case may be. So there's 2 routes for them to take. They're playing it safe. If they land a bunch of draft capital, though, in return for 3, then you have both of those routes to take when the time comes. So I think they're going to be more so looking at their pick back, a future pick, and 2 picks in this draft class.
Let me explain why I said they would just take 19, because you can still get a decent player at 19. If they take that player and it bottoms out again, they're going to suck.
Yeah.
If the Nets are starting Fears and Bailey, which I think they would be, they're going to suck.
No.
I mean, there's hope. There's a future. There's a pot of gold at the end of that rainbow, but we're still at the beginning of the rainbow. We're far.
Yeah.
They would have our pick that year, right? So they would have potentially 2, let's say, top 10 picks between their pick, which bottomed out, and our pick in that loaded draft. So if it works this year, they still get our pick next year, which is going to be a good pick. If it doesn't work out and they bottom out again, then they got 2 top 10 picks in that loaded draft. That's why I
see, and this is what's interesting too, and a point that really hasn't been brought up. Maybe they want to move this because they can't afford to pay the third overall pick. Right? I'm looking at their tax numbers right now. They have $10.5 million in tax base, $18.6 million under the first apron. But you also have Kelly Oubre's player option at $8.3 million. You have Andre Drummond's player option at $5 million. You have Quentin Grimes, who probably just earned himself a $20 to $25 million deal. You have Kyle Lowry. You have Yabusele. You have Jalen Hood-Schifino if you want to bring back. They have a bit of contracts to bring back. They're definitely going to be an over the first apron team. I don't know if they'll hit the second apron just yet. But bringing in a guy like Ace Bailey or VJ Edgecombe, it doesn't really matter. Whoever they draft at 3, that's an $8 to $10 million contract right off the rip, right? That's already going to be more than Kelly Oubre, Andre Drummond, Jared McKean. Like, it's going to hurt them financially too if they keep that 3rd overall pick with the big 3 that they currently have in contracts. So it could be a financial thing as well. So if that's the case, then yeah, I could definitely see them maybe taking a little bit less in return in terms of player value and really load up on the draft capital value, right? I mean, again, if you're moving 826, the 76ers 2027 pick back and a Knicks pick for 3, it's intriguing. I'd probably try and keep that Knicks pick in that scenario because I don't think moving up 5 spots should be worth that much. But overall, that's a solid deal. You get to keep 19, you get to move up to 3, and then you still have, 26 and 36 to try and move up with Cam Johnson now. So I think that that's definitely a solid scenario as well.
I wanted to address two things in the chat real quick.
Yeah,
Riff says
I could sell you a fucking pencil, dude, let alone Jeremiah Fears. Are you kidding me?
Because you're trying to sell me on Fears. I just don't see what you see. He's undersized, can't defend, doesn't shoot the 3, and is an average playmaker. Go ahead, Dylan. I'll let you cook on this.
Let's do it. All right, so real quick,
and let you
one
go.
question and one question only. Did you watch Ja Morant and Trae Young in college? I want to know that first. We'll let him answer. But if so, you'll know exactly why this kid is the real deal. And while I wait for that answer, I need to grab a water, which is right behind me.
No, I'm a big Fears fan too. I watched a lot of Fears. I hate watched Oklahoma quite a bit, especially down the end of the season when they got pretty good. Fears is he's not a consistent 3-point shooter right now. Yeah. The biggest concern, I guess, would be he's undersized, although he's 6'4". He is like 6'4", 175 pounds.
Yeah, no, he's at the average height for a point guard in today's NBA. 6'4" is by far nothing short of short. It's definitely not. It's not small. Yeah. But you talk about the 3, the inconsistency. Ja Morant was inconsistent. Russell Westbrook was inconsistent. Russell Westbrook's been an MVP. Ja Morant's been an all-star. Jeremiah Fears also got stuck taking a lot of grenades at Oklahoma. If you really watch, right? He's got every bit of upside, and the trajectory of his hype around him matches what Ja Morant and Trae Young dealt with Murray State in Oklahoma. Murray State was not meant to make the tournament that year. They were not meant to be good. Ja Morant was a name that was not on anybody's radar. And all of a sudden, he boosted up to the 2nd overall pick. He was the clear number 2 guy. Everybody loved him. He was going to have this, incredible career. Maybe if he put a gun down. But, it's just, that's the same trajectory that Fears is on. Fears was not a lottery projected pick this year in a loaded draft class. He went to mediocre Oklahoma where he had no help. He immediately started them off this season at 12-1, I believe. Right? If I'm not mistaken, were they 11-1 or 12-1?
I could look that up, but yeah, they got off to a hot start, and then
I'd like to say they were undefeated until they hit their 10th game. The impact that he brings on winning, whether that is being able to break down a defense with his ball handling, being able to find an open shot through his ball creation, being able to play make for when he drives to the rim and sees a double team heading his way, he can play make. There's way too many avenues for Fears that shows star potential. And not to mention, the last Oklahoma guard who did this was Trae Young. Right? Trae Young went to Oklahoma, a mediocre school, led them all the way to, I want to say they made the tournament, if not just missed the tournament. But they made it deep into conference play with just him as their main guy. This is a very similar trajectory in terms of impact on winning and hype around the player as Ja Morant and Trae Young. And the fact that he has comparisons to Ja Morant and Russell Westbrook should be something of, okay, this is interesting, right? This is a guy that could really fit in Brooklyn. It's the biggest position of need currently because Claxton's on the roster, right? We don't know if he'll be on the roster, but if he is, then point guard is the biggest need.
And this is what I wanted to address. This is from a statistical standpoint, right? So this is the so what it was 13-0. They started 13-0.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I mean, dude.
They were 13-0. They got quality wins. Providence, Louisville, Arizona. They weren't all.
Louisville was solid this year.
OK State, Michigan. They got quality wins there. Then they ran off some losses. They became a bubble team. And when they became a bubble team, look what Fears did. 22, 27, 31, 29, 28. And this is the stretch that I'm talking about where the last month of the regular season, when they started losing, and now all of a sudden they're on the bubble. That Florida game where they got blown out. Now it's like the season's starting to fall apart after that 13-0 start, and they need to start winning games. Fears went ballistic. Fears was giving you 30 and 10 every night. He is that kind of player. He was the best player on a mediocre team that got the most out of that team and carried them as a scorer and a playmaker. When they beat Texas, he didn't have a shot that day. He couldn't score. So he just took the game over another way and became a pure distributor, right? Like Fears is exactly what you want in a modern, assuming he can develop a three and he can get hot, right? He's not a consistent 3-point shooter, but it's not like he can't shoot the three at all. He can get hot. If he can become a 35, 36% 3-point shooter, he's an all-star point guard.
Yeah, if you look at his advanced metrics on Tankathon, his league average based on his advanced metrics are 36% from three for NBA. He will begin to find easier shots because, again, the NBA is a place that lacks defense and allows a shit ton of perimeter shooting. And what does that correlate to? More points per game and slightly better efficiencies. When you're wide open taking threes, you're going to hit them. Right? It's not like this guy can't hit a three.
I think people just look at his percentage and assume that he can't. Look, most of
the time, a college basketball player is going to shoot between 25 and 35% from three, and likely going to shoot 40 to 45% from the field. That's the average for a college basketball player, right? When you get into the NBA, now you're talking about 48 to 52% from the field. You're looking at 36 to 39% from threes, like your average that you want to see at least. For him, the shooting will get better. It's not really a concern for me of bad shot selection. It's when you're on Oklahoma as the only guy, you kind of have to take some grenades here and there. And that definitely dipped his value a bit, especially from three. But his mid-range, very, very solid. His finishing ability at the rim, whether that's above the rim or crafting a layup, very, very good. You know, this is a guy who has all-star potential. Maluak is in the same position as Ace Bailey, right? They are probably the two highest upside players in this draft in terms of raw potential. But you could be getting, injury-prone Mark Williams, who barely plays, who, nobody wants now because of a failed physical. Or you could be getting what everybody thought Mark Williams was supposed to be, which is a dominant paint presence, an incredible rim protector, a high efficient finisher at the rim. But the difference between Maluak and Williams is Maluak can space the floor. And that's where it's intriguing. I don't hate either option. Whatever option's available there, take. But if the two of them are still on the board at 8, give me Fears.
No, I agree. And I would not be infuriated if they took Maluak. If they took Maluak, I understand the upside, and I understand that the kind of unicorn of a player he could be. And I don't think his floor is that low. I really don't. Like I said, his floor is Mark Williams. Like, still a good player.
I think his floor is Mark Williams, Clint Capella. That's what he kind of, except again. But we're comparing centers who can't shoot the ball, right? And that's the interesting part. Is he maybe a closer comparison to a Miles Turner? It's like it's a bit. He's in between. Like, there's a lot of upside with him, and there's definitely comparisons that could be made. But yeah, I could see like a Mark Williams paint presence with a Miles Turner floor spacer, and that's a pretty scary center. I agree. I wanted to put here. I'm putting riffs up one more time, just real quick before I get to BKNY, because this is an interesting. If Oklahoma City asks for any more future draft capital, Sam Presti should be arrested. You got enough. You don't need any more. Like, genuinely. Give them Cam Johnson straight up for 15 and Ousmane Dieng and Kenrich Williams. I would take that. I think that is more than fair.
What you got to remember is every draft pick that Oklahoma City has is a guaranteed roster spot. They don't have any more roster spots.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Nikola Topic didn't play basketball this year. He's coming back. They still have Cason Wallace. They still have Isaiah Joe. They still have Aaron Wiggins. They still have Isaiah Hartenstein, Chet, Jalen Williams, Lou Dort, Alex Caruso, SGA. That's 10 already. Who are you playing? Like, what? You're going to have an entire G League of top 15 picks. It's not sustainable. They have to move on from the picks at some point. Who
do you think right now, every team is even money? Who would you bet wins the championship? Who do you think wins the championship right now?
Is it crazy for me to say Minnesota?
No, I don't think it's crazy. Like, these playoffs, I bet. Who had the Knicks versus the Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals on their bingo card?
My thing is, right, Mikal cannot guard Anthony Edwards. Right? Who can guard Anthony Edwards?
Can't guard Derek White. He gets cooked by everyone. Can we stop saying he's a good defensive player?
And Anthony Edwards is struggling in these playoffs, at least in the last series. He's due to just explode for a couple of games in this upcoming series, right? And not to mention, too, they're the team that has the rest. and we're kind of banking on OKC winning. Denver has a real chance. They're the team that's experienced in these game sevens, right? Like, there is a real chance Denver upsets them. And if Denver upsets them, Minnesota easily is winning that. I'm calling that now. It's in 5 because I genuinely think the Rudy Gobert, Julius Randle combo takes Jokic out, at least for 2 or 3 games. Like, it'll be very easy.
Who wins the Eastern Conference?
The basketball in me wants to say the Pacers.
I think the Pacers.
The
Pacers win a championship.
The hype and rhythm that they're on tells me the Knicks. Right? Like they just came off of beating the defending champs, whether Tatum was injured or not. They smoked them while he was there.
Yep.
They had key defensive stops against the defending champions. Based on the level of confidence they should have, the Knicks should win that series. But the depth and the pace of play by Indiana's offense could definitely be something that overall could beat the Knicks. So it's a 50-50 right now for them.
I think the pace, like you said, the pace of play, the Knicks play 7 people, and they played 7 people all season. I think it's one of those things, like in a fight where my volume is just going to break you down. I don't think the Knicks can sustain a 7-game series. I think if they call the foul on Tim Hardaway in Detroit, the Knicks might lose that series.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think the Knicks, and they spoke the Celtics. So and look, it had nothing to do with Tatum getting injured. Tatum got injured when they were down 3-1 and had already blown like 3 games where they had like 15, 20-point leads.
Yeah.
So Tatum getting injured is not why the Celtics lost.
The way that Boston lost to New York is very, very similar to the way that we lost to Boston, right?
Yeah.
We had a couple of really close games with Boston in 2022, and they were lost by poor last possessions and not being able to get a final shot up. They were lost by poor defensive breakdowns in the final seconds of a game, and now the major injury happens, right? That is a very, very similar situation to Brooklyn. And that's the reason why we're now starting to hear a lot of, does Boston blow it up? Does Jaylen Brown get traded? Do they maybe look to move Porzingis and Holiday to get under the second apron and retool the roster around those two? Like, it's going to be a really rough stretch for Boston next year. And
I don't want to go too far in the weeds, but look, and I'm not downplaying JB. I think Jaylen Brown's an all-star. I think he's a very good player. And I think what is he though? Like, okay. He's an athlete who can score. He's physically awesome. He's got a little mid game. He's got a little in and out game. He's not a ball handler. He's not a distributor. Like, he doesn't make anyone on the court better. He can score 40 or he doesn't. And what else does he really offer you? Like, he's a secondary star. Like, if you try to build around Jaylen Brown, he's not a guy that you can do that with. I think he's awesome in the role where he's the second best player on the team. But if the Nets wanted to trade for Jaylen Brown, they're taking him to be their star.
Yeah.
I don't think he's that. I think he's a secondary star. I don't think he's a guy that you can build around. There's too many flaws in his game. He's too one-dimensional, right? Like, if he doesn't score that day, if he doesn't have a shot that day, what's he doing for you?
Yeah. No, I completely agree. It's a very, very rough matchup with what they have going on. Like, they're screwed with Tatum hurt. It's going to affect them for a very long time. I actually agree with BKNY on that one. I think like I said, I have Minnesota winning it as of right now. And if they win it, I think Julius Randle wins Finals MVP, which would be fucking hilarious. That would be
Finals
really
MVP is a secondary star. Andre Iguodala, Cedric Cornbread Maxwell won Finals MVP.
Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen Brown deserved it.
He definitely deserved it, but he was a secondary star. Yeah.
And they still tried to give it to Tatum. You look at the voting was really close.
I know.
They still wanted to give it
in the
Tatum.
third quarter, Tatum was a minus 290 favorite. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. Brown's going to win. I should have thrown 250 on it because he was a plus 400 in the third quarter of that final game. But
yeah, you should have thrown some money on that.
I should have. But knowing me, if I threw money on it, though, Tatum would have won it.
I bet $200 on the Knicks to win the Eastern Conference before the season started, plus 375.
There you go.
I still don't think it's going to hit. I think the Pacers. You picked Minnesota, so is that crazy? Right now, if you say Gary, you have to pick a team to win the NBA Finals. I'm taking the Pacers. I think.
Oh yeah.
I'm taking the Pacers. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm taking the Pacers to win the championship right now.
Yeah.
All right. I don't want to go too far. You want to start the drafts? You want to run through it with the
Let's do
trade,
it. We'll do a scenario where we do the trade that we mentioned, where we keep 8, we'll move up to 3, and we'll figure it out from there. So yeah, if you want to pull that up, let's do it.
We're gonna do a full 2-round mock on either Monday or Tuesday. But we're just gonna run through quick the first round here, right, Dylan?
Yeah, that works.
All right. Can you guys see my screen? You can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. All right. All right. So, all right, we don't got to explain this. Number 1, Cooper Flag.
Yep. Number 2, Harper.
Number 2, Harper. Number 3. All right.
All right, so this is where we'll do the trade, and we don't even have to type it in. We've already explained what the trade is. So do trade partner Brooklyn, and then do picks 19 and 27 to Philly, pick 3 to Brooklyn. You already know the trade that I've proposed, so we'll do that. And then here we'll have the Nets select Ace Bailey.
I want to ask you one question. If it came down to it, and the trade was the trade that I discussed, Paul George and 3 for Cam and 8, would you make that trade?
Cam Johnson and 3 for Cam Johnson and who?
Cam Johnson and 8 for Paul George and 3.
Financially, it doesn't work. I was actually just looking at that. They would have to take back Claxton as well, and I think they're trying to get under that apron. So I think it's going to be, if it happens, it's going to be a straight up pick trade. Okay. And if that's the case, I would do everything in my power to do 19, 27, the 76ers pick back in 2027, and a Knicks 2029 pick, whether that's top 5 protected, top 8 protected, unprotected. I really don't care. If you can do that and pull that off while keeping 8 and still have Cam Johnson to move up in the draft, by all means do it.
BK says I'm bugging. In about what? Is that about Jaylen Brown, or is that about the Pacers winning the championship? Which one am I bugging about? All right. So, all right, we're drafting Ace Bailey at 3. Charlotte at 4. This is an interesting pick. I guess it's VJ, but is that really? It's VJ, right?
Yeah, has to be.
5, Utah.
Trey Johnson.
We'll
go Derek Queen at 6.
The one good thing about falling to 8 is we're not going to end up with Trey Johnson. That's the one good thing about falling to 8. Number 6, Washington is
that Derek Queen. I like that pick for them. I think they want to get that dual set big.
7 is New Orleans. They're going to take a big. Are they going to take Malluak here?
I'm going to go with the scenario that I think does have a chance, and that's Jeremiah Fears. We'll go Fears there. Okay. Or do you want to do it where we get Fears?
I want to do. Well, let's do this one with Fears, and then tomorrow Monday or Tuesday when we do the full mock, give me your honest thoughts. Like if
okay. So go Kneppel then at 7.
So you're not going to take it big here? Okay.
No, I think they would take Kneppel potentially as their CJ McCollum replacement.
And then we get
Fears. Brooklyn go Fears, yeah.
All right. That's a franchise-changing day right there. So let's run through the rest of this. Toronto at 9.
They go Malluak. And then at 10, this is what? Houston? I'm going to have them go Carter Bryant.
He's jumping. We usually take him at 19 in our mock draft. He's jumping up the boards.
I'm hoping there's a world he falls to 15, man, because I think that we could definitely trade up with OKC. Portland at 11. Go Colin Murray Boyles. We'll go Boyles. 12 is Chicago. I hate doing this, man, but I actually think it has a chance. Thomas Sorber. And if those 3 are off the board, I'm not taking a big this year. I don't like any of the other centers.
It depends on who you call a big. Is Asnoel a big?
No.
Okay. He
If
is
you
in Sean
scroll
Watts's
back up,
lineup.
this is what, Atlanta.
Yeah, Atlanta's at 13.
Can you scroll back up on the big board on the left side?
Oh yeah. Well,
I don't hate.
It depends on what you do with Trey, right?
Yeah, I don't hate Asengwe here. I also don't hate Yakuchonis. For them, go Yakuchonis.
I know Alan was interested in Yakin Chonis. He's asking me if Beers was off the board, and other than Igor, what was a point guard you could draft? Is Kaspar's more of a 1 or a 2? How would you describe his game?
He could play both. I don't really see a specific position for him. He's just that combo guard that can do a little bit of both. For San Antonio here at 14, Noah Asengwe.
Of course.
Yeah. See, and I don't know how I have Igor falling here. It's so hard to see a world where Igor goes in the top 10, like they're kind of projecting him at. But all right, and then this is where I'll do.
You wanted to trade up to 14 or 15. I would look at Asa Noel or Igor if Carter Bryant was off the board. If Carter Bryant's off the board and you still want to trade up to either 14 or 15 with San Antonio or OKC with Cam Johnson, who would you target?
If I moved up to 14 or 15?
Yeah.
I'm looking at Rasheer Fleming, Igor Demon, Carter Bryant, Thomas Sorber. Like those would be probably the bigger names that I look at.
Okay.
All right. And in this scenario, did we give up 19 or did we keep 19?
We gave up 19 and 27.
Okay. So 19 and 27 are gone, and we'll just do that specifically as picks, like we got to keep Cam Johnson. So we'll do 1927, Philly 2027, and then Knicks 2029 to move up to 3.
Okay.
We still have 19. This is where I would do the Cam Johnson trade. And we'll do Cam Johnson pick 26 and 36 to move up to 15.
Let me. If we could pull this off, like hang on.
Yeah.
All right. So
I mean, or 50. Actually, you know what? Do we do it with OKC or do we do it with Minnesota? The problem is Minnesota. I don't know how they do the Cam Johnson move because they're over the second apron. So yeah, you know what? Don't even overthink.
It's got it's got to be OKC.
Yeah.
Let's just leave it like this, and they get OKC. Also, get CJ.
Cam Johnson. Yeah. So Brooklyn moves up to 15. They already got their guard. They already got their forward. With Sorber and Bryant off the board, you kind of have to think Rasheer Fleming is the pick here. Who else is a little further down the board?
I don't think we need to move past Asa Noel, but
I know you're a big Asa guy. Yeah, I like Fleming most here. It just makes the most sense. Get the best upperclassmen on the board.
I'm fine with that.
Move with that. Orlando here, I like Jace Richardson. Minnesota
flying up draft boards. What year is he? Is he an upperclass? What is it?
No, he's a freshman. Yeah, Fleming's a junior.
Yeah, I thought Jace Richards was at least a sophomore. I didn't realize he was still a freshman. And then
Minnesota, they could either go Nick Clifford or Asa Noel. And with Nas leaving, they kind of need a backup 4. I don't hate Noel there, but I also don't know.
Nick Clifford is more NBA ready because he's a senior, and that's a win now team.
And they're already in the Western Conference. Yeah, let's go Clifford. I don't hate that. I may have Noel drop to 20. This has to be Igor. Igor here.
That's a good draft for them. They got Queen and Igor. They got an offense now. They got 2 guys who can move the ball. I like what they did there. If that would have worked out that way.
Yeah. Oh, did we end up giving OKC? Yeah, we ended up giving OKC 19. Or no, this is Philly that has 19.
This is Philly that has 19.
Oh, okay. So we only had 3 picks.
Yeah, we're done. We're done.
Okay. Gotcha. All right. Yeah, go Asa Noel here. That makes a ton of sense.
Miami at 20.
Liam
McNeely.
I feel like they're the type of fucking team to take Cedric Coward. I don't know why. This is Utah?
Yeah, Utah back
Yeah,
in
Liam
21.
McNeely, the usual suspect. It's the perfect description for
It's,
Utah.
it's a Utah
Go with it.
Jazz type of player.
Yep. Atlanta
Uh,
up. I love Will Riley here. That's
he's
who
a
I was
guy
going to
I've
take
seen
plus the
shooting up
19.
draft boards too. I saw him going 12 in one mock draft.
Jesus. Yeah, no, he's definitely
Yeah.
not going lottery, but it would not surprise me if he went as early as 19 to us. Indiana up at 23. If you scroll up, who is on the board?
Saraf, Vila, Baranga.
I don't hate Beringer here. Yeah. They could use a backup big if they bring back Turner. OKC, this has to be Danny Wolf. Has to be. And then we're back up to Orlando. I don't hate Yaxel Lendeborg here. I think that's a really solid fit for them since they got their young upside guard who can space the floor. I think Yaxel does a little bit of everything and brings in that win now piece. So we'll go with Yaxel there. Did we do first round or full draft for this?
I don't remember what I did. We're just gonna go through the first round here. I don't remember what I clicked.
Okay,
we probably did full round. I don't think I changed any of the settings. We probably did a full 2 rounds. Yeah.
All right. OKC is up. It's so hard to have Saraf keep falling.
I mean, if you want to take Saraf, they're just in a position where they got an embarrassment of riches. You might as well just take the best player available and then trade him if need be.
Yeah. I mean, I also don't hate them trading back again for future capital.
Yeah, that's what I think they would do. You want to see who's on the board?
Yeah, let's see who's on the board.
Yeah, I mean, how many guys are they really going to add to their roster? You know what I'm saying?
I know, it's ridiculous.
All right, trade pick. Who's on the board?
I don't hate like Washington or Utah making a move up.
That's what I was looking at. Well,
who has more draft capital in this year's class? Washington or Utah? Whoever has the least amount will do them.
All right, so let's do Washington.
Okay.
Where the hell is Washington? There they are, 40.
Yeah, so do 20, what is that, 26 or 27, whatever it is?
26, yeah.
Yeah, give
that's
them,
our pick, yeah.
Yeah, give them that straight up, and we'll just say Washington throws in like future seconds or whatever.
Okay.
I wouldn't even give them 40.
Don't give them 40?
No, I think it'll just be a future draft capital type of thing.
All right. And then is this Saraf? I mean, he's got they already got Gore, Igor, and Queen.
Who else is on the board? Moving down a little bit. Yeah, I don't hate Saraf here.
All right.
I don't hate Saraf here because he can play the 2, but he also has.
I gotta take a leak. Just talk about the Nets draft so far and what they've done.
Sounds good. Who did we even get? We got Ace, we got Fears, we got Fleming.
Ace, Fears, and Fleming.
It's not a bad draft. It's really not. With Fleming especially, I mean, he's at 6'9" with a 7'5" wingspan. He quite literally is a lengthier Naz Reid, which is really impressive. Like that's hard to do. His floor spacing ability, I believe he shot 39% from 3 at St. Joe's this year. Highly efficient as well inside the paint. Wow, that was a nice voice crack. But defensively as well, very, very aggressive. Kind of matches exactly what Jordi Fernandez would want. So I think Fleming's just one of those guys that I absolutely love in this draft class. Also, by the way, since he's not here right now, feel free. I'm going to drop a link in the chat. This is where I am now posting my blogs. I am no longer using WordPress. I am using Substack. This is where Mark Stein does his work. So I was like, you know what? I might as well shift over here. Shout out to Doug Norrie who recommended it. But there's the link below. I just posted an article on there as well. If you guys want, feel free to head over there, subscribe to it. I'll be doing my articles over there moving forward. So what are we at here? This is now Philly again. Oh, they're either going. This has to be Walter Clayton. Has to be. Which is a great draft for them. Like if they're able to bring in those 2 guys, that's a hell of a draft. While also getting their pick back in 2027, while also getting a Knicks pick that they could use to improve the roster. That's Good work for Philly for sure. And then who's after Philly? It's Boston. Nah, it has to be like Maxime Reynaud or Phylan. I'm just trying to think in advance of this way because I know we got to wrap things up here shortly as well. But yeah, man.
All right.
Yeah, go Walter Clayton here to Philly. That's a hell of a draft for them if they're able to also get future draft capital too. That's a really good draft for them.
All right. Boston at 28.
I'm between
This is where I might
Phylan
take Cam
I'm
Jones now.
See, I'm between Phylan and Reynaud. Maxime Reynaud.
I mean, at this point, don't you need an impact scorer? Like, you just lost Tatum for the season.
Well, they have Derek White. They have Jaylen Brown. And the returns that they could get for Holiday and Porzingis are interesting. Right? They
Did
still
you
have
play
Peyton Pritchard.
Cam-
They still have Sam Hauser.
Well, you got Pritchard, yeah. Because in my brain, Drew Holiday is gone.
Yeah, for sure.
Could you play Cam Johns and Jaylen Brown together? Is that an impossibility?
No, but I don't know if they. I think they actually may just straight up use Porzingis as a salary dump. Like find a team with cap space that you work a 3-team trade in, and they don't get a player back in return. Maybe they just get like seconds, just to try and get off the cap.
What's left on Porzingis' deal?
1 year, $30.7 million.
You want to take him?
I prefer not
capital?
to. I prefer not to, but no, I saw a mock trade before from Billy Reinhart. It was Claxton to the Lakers, Porzingis, Gabe Vincent, and I think Maxi Kleber to Brooklyn, plus both of their 2031 first-round picks. The Celtics got like multiple second-round picks in return. Something like that. Which it's not bad in terms of asset return, but
if he didn't have AIDS, why would they give him away? I'm asking you serious. If he had the flu, why would they give him away? I'm asking a question.
It's a genuine question. It is. I mean, hey, you know what? Like, I don't hate the idea because if you're bringing back Porzingis, Kleber, and Vincent, that's $52 million roughly in free cap space next offseason. That's a hell of a haul in terms of, what you could do next offseason and star hunting. So, and the stars next year in the free agency class so far are 10 times better than this one. So it's not a horrible idea.
Quest One wants to know the package. You just give him the package real quick for Ace. He's late to the show.
Yeah, I'm going to use the non-player one. So it'll be 1927, the 76ers 2027 first round pick back to Philly, and the Knicks 2029 first round pick.
So there's a ton of draft capital.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if you're not adding a player, you may have to add in another first, especially if you're not giving up 8, which again, I'm all for. Like
whatever you need to do. Yeah, whatever. The reason why you acquire all these picks is to get the players that you want.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so if we got to trade a lot of the capital to get Ace Bailey, you just do it.
Yeah. Because you also have to remember too, it's not just trading for Ace Bailey. You're also drafting one of Maluak or Fears at 8. So it's like, you're getting 2
impact players.
Top 6 guys, realistically, in my eyes, for a couple of future firsts that you aren't going to be using anytime soon. Who cares?
All right, where are we at?
All right, so I'm gonna go Maxime Reynaud here. I think they need to find the Porzingis and Al Horford replacement.
He's all the way down on our list, right?
Yeah, he was at like 42. For some reason, it didn't update.
Okay.
I'll have to update this later.
Are they really looking to just dump Porzingis this like that? Just just dump him for salary. Just dump his salary.
Yeah. This is tough now because you have Phylan and Traore still on the board. Does one of them fall into the second round? I think this is the Traore pick with Phoenix.
Wow, we still have Traore on the board. Wow, he's falling off this much.
I have him mocked to Phoenix now in pretty much every single mock draft. And that's the thing though, like Phylan shouldn't be on the board right now. I mean, honestly, it makes sense for the Clippers here for him, just because
I feel like we've had this pick a lot. Phylan to
well, we usually do
Clippers.
Cam Jones to LA.
Is that what we do? Okay.
Yeah, it's usually Cam Jones. Like, it wouldn't surprise me though if Phylan's available. why not take him? He's a high upside defensive point guard, and I think that matches the system that LA has currently. So yeah, I like Filan there. Go Filan. Yeah, we did do 2 rounds.
All right.
Do you want to do the full 2, or we'll just stick with 1?
Let's just save the 2 rounds. Let's just save the second round for we'll do the full 2 rounds on Monday or Tuesday, whatever day works better for you.
Sounds good. Yeah.
I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to. We went through.
I mean, if you want to scroll to the bottom, though, yeah, we'll look at the Nets picks. I didn't realize we only had 3. I was hoping for 4.
No, we yeah.
So it makes sense to give up 19 and while keeping 8. So that makes sense.
If this, I don't think Sean Marks has either the work ethic or the brain power to do this because he doesn't like to work too much.
I was going to say most likely if you trade 19 while keeping 8, I don't think they would trade up. I think they would just stick and pick at 26 and 36. And if that's the case, you're probably looking at like a Yaxel Lendeborg, there's not many options in that realm at 26 at that point with how the board's fallen. Yeah, it really depends on who's there. Like, it's tough. I mean, maybe you double up on a position and go Ben Seraph at 26.
Why not just take Cam Jones, right? If you're throwing darts at 26, I understand he plays the same position as your best player. But Cam Thomas, I don't think is here long term. If Cam Jones, this is going to get confusing. If Cam Jones can become a legitimate scorer, you can trade Cam Thomas. I'm not saying. What I'm saying is Cam Thomas is the one piece you could trade for a star. If I can plug in Cam
Breezy
Jones,
may still be in here.
Yeah, I know. Look, I like Cam Thomas. I don't necessarily want to trade him, but you know how the Nets organization feels about him. They don't love him.
Yeah.
And that's the one trade piece you have, especially if you can get him on a good deal. If you get him on a team-friendly deal in a year that's not good for free agents, you got a lot of leverage there.
Yeah.
I think Cam Thomas will be on the team this year. I would bet on that. I would bet he's not on the team next year in 26, 27. I would bet he's gone by then. This is my sweet spot right here. Igor or Aston. If we get Fears, and obviously we don't need Igor, right? Like, you wouldn't do that. I know Igor 6'9", he can play. He's listed as a 2 guard. I've seen him listed as a 3, as a point forward. Fears and Igor would not make sense, right? You wouldn't do that under any circumstance, right? Yeah. So if we do get Fears at 8, so then let me pose the question to you. At 8, if Fears and Maluak are available, and you feel confident that we can get Devin either in a trade down to 14 or 15 or at 19, would you draft Maluak and Demon because it's a better value? Right? Would you take Maluak at 8 because I can get my point guard in Demon later?
Yeah, that's the scenario that I was looking at. Sorry. If you're able to find a world where you can get Ace, Maluak, and Igor, you're drafting 3 guys that are over 6'8", 6'9". Yeah. And it's all versatility too. Demon's playmaking and his increased ability at floor spacing has gotten better. That's a huge hit for the point guard position. Ace, with the amount of upside that he has, insane. Maluak, starting center upside, like incredible frame, NBA ready body, floor spacing, rim protection. That's a huge, like, if you get those 3, that is nasty. That is a nasty draft.
You have a foundation too, right? You have 6'9" point guard. Then you know, putting Cam at the 2 and undersized 2 is not that big of a problem because you got size everywhere else. You got size at the 3, you got size at the 4. And at that point, you guys are gonna like this. You got Maluak at the 4.
Yeah.
Do you think, can you keep Claxton a pick and roll center at the 5? Because all of a sudden you have all this length and he fits into what you're looking to do there with length and versatility.
Yeah.
Do you look to keep Cam? Do you look to keep Claxton if you drafted Maluak and Demon and Ace? Do you look to keep Claxton because he fits into what you're doing defensively?
Do you look to keep Claxton with Maluak?
Yeah.
No.
Can I keep Claxton, Maluak? Yeah.
I think the Maluak.
Here's my front.
Clowney
is
much better.
Yeah.
Right, because Clowney has that excessive 3-point floor spacing ability where he's not afraid to take the shot. Like he'll throw
No, he is
7
not.
of them up. Yeah, he'll throw
He
7 of them up
launches
a game and he'll
threes.
hit 2.
He
You
launches
know?
threes like he's peak Clay Thompson. He catches the ball and
Yeah.
shoots. Like, all right, do we want to look to make a basketball move? Do we put the ball on the floor? No, you just want to shoot the three. All right, cool.
Literally.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But yeah, no, that's why I think that would work better with Clowney and Maluak if that was the scenario.
I get Maluak makes Claxton expendable, but I think theoretically they could work. They could work together. Like you could play them at the. I don't care which one you want to call the 4, which one you want to call the 5. Maluak is going to guard the bigs. Claxton is going to guard the athlete, and now you got 2 shot blockers. I'm saying I envision a world where offensively it's going to be stagnant, but defensively it gives you a lot, especially with Ace at the 3. Like that's a lot, and Igor at the point. That's a lot of length. Like it's going to be hard to score against those guys.
Yeah, no.
If you have Igor, like, Ace, Nick Claxton, and Maluak, that's a lot of size.
Mm-hmm.
And
if you had a starting 5 next year, that was.
If Cam Thomas gets cooked defensively like he's Luka, who cares? You're gonna get a million block shots. Like look at the length and size you got in there.
Like if you have a starting 5 next year of Igor, Cam Thomas, Kuminga, Ace, and Maluak, that's scary. That's a fun, exciting young team. That is a fun team.
Leaf is not on the Maluak, and BK says
it's not on the.
I thought BK was just trolling. What is? I don't see much downside in him, and I see tremendous upside in him. Like I don't.
There's really not much downside to him. Like he's going to be a utility big man in this league. There's Mark Williams with the injury history that he has had is still a starting big man in this league when he's healthy. Maluak doesn't have the injury history that Mark Williams has, and he can space the floor. The upside is through the roof.
It's a center from Duke. All right. All right. Is there anything else you want to touch on? I mean, we're going almost an hour. I didn't want to go too long today.
I think we got it. I mean, we're getting closer. Hopefully we hear some more rumors today, if not tomorrow. But really,
we'll be live either Monday or Tuesday. We'll be back and we'll do a full 2-round mock with Ace going to the Nets at 3, and then we'll figure out the rest of it. When we got 8 originally, I did want to like jump off a bridge. Like I was in my feelings. I was being emotional. I absolutely was. I was not happy, right?
Yeah.
But I think there's a way out of this. If Philly is really offering that number 3, if it's for real, if they're really thinking about trading it, we need to move in there.
If you were able to keep, so let's just say, like hypothetically, if you were to give up pick 8, 27, and the 76ers 2027 pick for 3, you're able to keep 19. You're able to keep Cam Johnson to still do a trade up. You still have 26 and 36. Would you prefer to do that and then move up into that 14, 15, 16 range while also keeping 19? So this way you have 3, a pick between 14 and 16, and then also 19. Right, so you're kind of passing on the ability of Fears and Maluak, but you're also now looking at the possibilities of adding Igor Fleming with
Austin Noel. Yeah.
Right, and you also get to keep your 2026 pick. You get to expand the value of a guy like Johnson. There's some interest for me there. Like I wouldn't hate giving up Johnson. So what is it? 8 and 27 to move up to 3, and then if you do 26 and Johnson to move up to, let's just say 15 with OKC. If you're able to land Ace, Igor, and Fleming, and then in the second round get a guy like Drake Powell, that's a fucking draft. That's a cool draft right there.
So it was Ace, Igor. Yeah, no, that works.
Ace, Igor, Fleming, and like a guy like maybe Drake Powell.
Powell's at 36.
Maybe
at 36 in the second round, we're just throwing darts. I always say the second round, just take the guy with the biggest upside. Like, I
agree. Especially if you already have your upperclassmen in Fleming, then it kind of makes sense to just.
I got to leave is on fire today. He just called him. I see the 3-point shot barely. Thabit was picked number 2 overall, number 3 overall. It was wild. There are certain guys. Anthony Bennett has seemed to be. I just don't get it. Like, what are we looking at here?
Yeah, it's not been pleasant. Hey, Kyle Filipowski was a Duke center. Look at him in Utah after his rookie year. Pretty damn good numbers, if you ask me.
You're the Duke guy. You can answer this question. Give me 5 Duke centers that did something in the NBA. But this is like Ohio State quarterbacks are no good.
Yeah.
And then you got Joe Burrow, right? Come on. You just because you went to school, and then you got CJ. Just because you went to school somewhere and they have a poor history of that position doesn't mean that you're gonna suck, right? Like Ohio State quarterbacks are trash, and then Joe Burrow and CJ Stroud went there.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Just because you play center at Duke doesn't mean Mike Jaminski. There you go. There's a net that went to Duke center. But like, you can answer it. Like, with Christian Laettner, is he? We're calling Christian Laettner a 4.
Yeah.
He'd be a 5 in today's game.
A lot of the guys that have went to Duke that have played the 5 are primary 4s. Like Mason Plumlee had a solid career in the NBA.
He did.
Duke
He was
guy,
a good player. Yeah.
Right. Zion Williamson played the 5 at times at Duke. So did Paulo. Like there's a guy. Wendell Carter Jr. was solid. Like he's another injury prone guy. Mark Williams. Like they have centers. It's just a lot of them turn injury prone. But I mean, you usually also see that pattern in college with them. Like Wendell Carter wasn't fully healthy at Duke, I'm sure. So, yeah, I mean, if there's a center to take a risk on in this year, it's Maluak. There's no debate about that.
Yeah. I seem to be with a 3 barely. All right. All right, yeah. This is a name you never thought you'd hear again ever again in your whole entire life.
Hasim with the beat is a crazy shout.
I appreciate that, Leaf. All right, we're good. We'll see you guys Monday or Tuesday. You think
That
Monday's
works,
going to
yeah.
work? Okay.
Yeah, Monday should work. If not, I'll let you know Sunday night.
All right, sounds good. Appreciate you guys. It's May 17th, 2025, from Texas to the world. Thank y'all, and God bless.
Later.